My name is Emily Carter. I am 32 years old. The day my husband had a heart attack, I thought I was about to lose him forever. I rushed him to the hospital and stayed by his side every night. I prayed for him, cried for him, did everything to save him. But one night, I heard him say, "I married her for money. When I recover, I'll take everything and leave her." I stood there, completely broken. And in that moment, I stopped being his wife. I became something else. And what I did next destroyed him completely. Before I tell you what really happened, please like and subscribe to the channel and tell me your country in the comments. Now, let's begin. The call came in the middle of the day. I was in the kitchen making tea when my phone rang. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick it up. "Hello. Ma'am, is this Mrs. Carter?" A serious voice asked. "Yes. Your husband has collapsed at his office. It looks like a heart attack. He's being taken to the hospital right now." For a moment, I couldn't understand the words. Heart attack? No, that couldn't be right. "He's stable for now," the man continued, "but you should come immediately." The phone slipped slightly in my hand. "I'm coming," I said quickly. I don't even remember how I got there. Everything was a blur. The traffic, the noise, the people. All I could think about was him. What if I lose him? What if I never see him again? When I reached the hospital, my hands were shaking. "Where is he?" I asked the nurse at the desk. She checked something and pointed down the hallway. "ICU, room 7. I ran. I didn't care who was watching. When I reached the room, I stopped at the door. He was lying on the bed, still, weak, machines connected to his body. For a second, I felt like my heart stopped too. I slowly walked inside. "Adrian," I whispered. He didn't respond. His eyes were closed. His face pale. I moved closer, held his hand. It was cold. Tears filled my eyes instantly. "Please don't leave me," I whispered. That night, I didn't go home. I sat beside him the entire time, watching the machines, listening to every sound, every small movement. The doctor came in later. "He's lucky," he said. "It was a major attack. But we managed to stabilize him." "Will he be okay?" I asked, my voice barely steady. "He needs time. And care." "I'll take care of him," I said immediately. And I meant it. The next few days became a routine. Morning to night, I was there, feeding him, helping him sit, talking to him, even when he was too weak to reply. Sometimes he would look at me quietly, and I would smile. "Everything will be okay," I would say, because that's what I believed. I didn't leave his side, not for a moment. Nurses would tell me to rest, but how could I? This was my husband, the man I loved, the man I built my life with. At night, when everything was silent, I would sit beside him and hold his hand, praying, hoping, begging God to save him. Days passed. Slowly, he started getting better. He could speak a little, eat a little, even sit up on his own. And every small improvement felt like a miracle to me. One evening, I stepped out of the room for a few minutes just to get some fresh air. My head felt heavy, my body was tired, but my heart was still with him. After a while, I walked back toward his room. The hallway was quiet, almost empty. As I got closer, I noticed something. The door was slightly open. I slowed down, my hand still holding the coffee I had brought for him. And then, I heard his voice. But something felt wrong. It wasn't weak. It wasn't tired. It was normal, soft, calm, almost happy. I frowned slightly and, without thinking, looked inside. And that's when my world stopped. There was a woman standing near his bed, a young, beautiful woman holding a bouquet of flowers. She was smiling at him, and he was looking at her in a way he had never looked at me. "My love," he said softly, his voice full of warmth. "You came. I missed you." My heart dropped. She walked closer, placing the flowers beside him. "Of course I came," she said gently. "How could I not?" He smiled at her like nothing in the world mattered more. "Don't worry," he said, reaching for her hand. "Just a little more time, then no one will be able to separate us." My fingers tightened around the cup. "I only love you," he continued. "You know that." My eyes filled with tears. This marriage, he said casually, it was just for stability. My breath stopped. I needed a safe life, and she had everything. The woman laughed softly. So your wife, she really has no idea? He smirked. She's too innocent, he said. She believes everything I say. They both laughed. A sharp pain hit my chest. You've been cheating on her from the beginning, the woman added with a smile. And she still loves you blindly? He laughed again low, proud. That's my skill, he said. I know exactly how to control women. My vision blurred. I took care of everything, he continued calmly. Her money, her assets. My heart started racing. And once I recover, he paused, then smiled. I'll take everything. My fingers trembled. And leave her. Silence. The cup slipped from my hand, but I didn't even hear it hit the floor. Because in that moment, everything inside me broke. I stood there, frozen, completely shattered. For a moment, I wanted to go inside. My hands were shaking. My heart was burning. I wanted to open that door, walk straight in, and slap both of them. I wanted to scream, to ask him, why? Why did you do this to me? Why did you lie? Why did you destroy everything? But something inside me stopped me. I don't know what it was. Pain maybe. Or the last piece of my dignity. I slowly stepped back. My legs felt weak. My chest felt heavy. And without making a sound, I turned around and walked away. I didn't go back inside. I walked out of the hospital into the small garden outside. It was quiet there. Empty. I sat on a bench, and finally, I broke down. Tears started falling one after another. For 5 years, he was my whole world. I loved him, trusted him, gave him everything I had. My love, my time, my dreams, even my property. Everything was in his control. And all this time, he was lying to me, using me. I covered my face with my hands, crying like I never had before. Now, everything finally made sense. Every small thing, every moment, every excuse. Why he never wanted children. Every time I talked about having a baby, he would smile and say, let's enjoy life first. We have time, and I believed him. I thought he cared. I thought he wanted a perfect life with me. But the truth was, he didn't even love me. Not even a little. I was just a plan, a step, a way to build his future. And I was blind enough to give him everything. I sat there for a long time, crying, thinking, breaking again and again. But slowly, something inside me started changing. The tears stopped. My breathing became steady. And for the first time, I stopped asking why. Instead, I asked something else. What now? I looked up, wiped my tears, and took a deep breath. Okay, I whispered to myself. If this is what you want, then fine. My voice was calm now. No more begging. No more love. Let's play your game. That moment, something inside me died. And something else was born. I stood up slowly. No more tears. No more weakness. When I walked back into the hospital, my face was normal. Calm. Soft. Just like before. I opened the door and stepped inside. The woman was gone. He looked at me and smiled weakly. Where were you? He asked. Just outside, I said gently. I walked closer, adjusted his pillow, and held his hand. Are you okay? I asked softly. He nodded, and for the first time, I looked at him not as my husband, but as someone I was about to destroy. From that day, everything changed. I still cared for him, still stayed beside him, still acted like the same loving wife. But inside, I was planning, quietly, carefully. I contacted a lawyer. I started checking documents, bank accounts, property papers, everything. Every detail mattered now. He had no idea. He still believed I was his loyal, innocent wife. And that was his biggest mistake. Days passed. He got stronger, recovered faster. And every time he smiled at me, I smiled back. But inside, I was counting days, counting steps, waiting for the right moment. Because this time, I wasn't going to cry. I was going to finish it. And when he finally recovered, everything he planned to take from me would already be gone. He thought he had planned everything perfectly. For years, he slowly took control of everything. The house, the accounts, the documents, little by little, he made himself the owner of my life. And I trusted him completely. He almost had everything. Almost. But he forgot one thing. No matter what papers he signed, no matter whose name he tried to put, the real owner was always me. And he never knew that. So taking everything back was not difficult. In just a few days, everything returned to where it belonged, under my name. Safe. Untouchable. And he was still living in his illusion. A few days after he came home, things started changing. He became distant. Cold. Spending more time on his phone, smiling at messages, walking out for fresh air. I noticed everything, but I said nothing. I was waiting. Then one evening, the doorbell rang. I looked at the clock. It was late. A strange feeling crossed my heart. I stood up slowly, walked to the door, and opened it. And there he was, Adrian, standing there with her. The same woman from the hospital. She looked even more confident now, dressed well, standing close to him, like she already belonged there. For a moment, we just looked at each other. Silence. Then I smiled softly. Adrian, I said calmly. Who is her? The woman laughed lightly. Adrian stepped forward. I need to tell you something, he said. I stepped aside. Come in, I said. They both walked inside, like nothing was wrong. He stood in the middle of the room, took a slow breath, and looked straight at me. Silence stretched between us. Then he ran a hand through his hair, like this was hard for him. For years, he began, voice heavy. I tried to be happy with you. My fingers curled slightly, but my face stayed calm. I gave you everything, he continued. A good life, comfort, security, a pause. His eyes dropped. But I couldn't give you love. Each word landed sharp. That was never in my control. Something inside me cracked, but I didn't move, didn't react, didn't blink. He turned his head toward the woman beside him, and suddenly, his face softened. Gentle. Real. I love her, he said quietly. This time, it hit deeper. We met 2 years ago, and somewhere along the way it became real. He looked back at me, not guilty, not ashamed, almost expecting understanding. I didn't want to hurt you, he said. I really didn't, his voice trembled, just enough to sound honest. But I'm helpless. Silence filled the room again. And no one, he added softly, can force love. Then he looked at me, waiting for tears, for anger, for me to break, to beg, to hold on to him. But I didn't. I just stood there, still, quiet, unshaken. And then I smiled. A small, calm, unexpected smile. Okay, I said softly. His expression shifted instantly. Confusion. What? Go ahead, I said. Finish what you started. The room went still. He wasn't ready for this. Not even close. He straightened, trying to regain control. Fine, he said, forcing confidence. I want a divorce. I nodded slightly. Already done. His face went blank. Frozen. What? I walked to the table, picked up a file, and placed it in front of him. Signed. Filed. Approved. His hands started shaking as he opened it. This isn't possible. Oh, it is, I said calmly. And Adrian, he looked up. Before he could speak, I took a step closer. And don't worry, I said quietly. I already know everything. Silence. His expression changed, confusion, then fear. The hospital room, I continued. That night, the door was open. His lips parted. I saw her, I said, glancing at the woman. I heard every word. I married her for money. I'll take everything and leave. Each word fell like a blade. The room went completely silent. He stepped back slightly. You heard that, he whispered. I smiled faintly. Every single word. Now his confidence was gone. You said you gave me everything. I continued slowly. I shook my head. No. My voice became sharper. I gave you everything. Your lifestyle, your comfort, your control, all of it was mine. His breathing became heavy. And now, I said calmly, I'm taking it all back. I looked straight into his eyes. Everything. His hands trembled over the papers. The accounts, I said, not yours anymore. His eyes widened. The house, I paused then looked around slowly, was always mine. He flipped through the papers faster. No, no, he whispered. You wanted everything, I said quietly. So, I took everything back. The woman beside him stepped back slightly, confused, uncomfortable. What is this? She asked him. He didn't answer, because he couldn't. He told you, he had everything, right? I said, looking at her. Silence. I gave a small smile. He has nothing. Her face changed instantly, shock, then anger. She slowly pulled her hand away from his. Is this true? She asked. Adrian stayed silent. That was his answer. She let out a small, bitter laugh. Unbelievable, she muttered. Then she looked at him one last time and stepped back. I don't stay with losers, she said coldly. And just like that, she turned and walked away, leaving him standing there alone. Exactly like he planned for me. He looked at me, completely broken. Please, he whispered. But this time, I felt nothing. No pain. No anger. Just peace. I walked past him slowly and sat down.
Calm.
This was my house. My life. My victory. And he no longer belonged in it. Leave, I said quietly. He didn't move. I said, leave. My voice was still calm, but final. He looked at me one last time, hoping, begging, but there was nothing left. Slowly, he turned and walked out of the house. And this time, he was the one being left behind.